A couple years back, I was about to get married. I wanted to be a pastor, and I was completely miserable with probably every area of my life. And then one night, I decided to take 4 grams of mushrooms with my best friend and his girlfriend, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. My name's Stephen Taylor, and this is my channel where I talk about anything and everything I'm doing to improve and better my life. Along the way, I'm sharing that journey with you. Mushrooms are an absolute blessing to this planet, and I could not be happier that they've done for me what they've done. Now, I've had several experiences with them all the way back to being a teen. A lot more of it was recreational at the start, and then over the course of time, I started realizing that these were actually pretty powerful, and they helped me develop new perspectives, and they helped me overcome some things that happened inside my head. I was in a 2.5-year relationship, and I can't say I was totally happy. We had talked about getting married. I had a ring picked out. I didn't buy it yet, but I had a ring picked out. We were going to go travel the country in a school bus. We were going to go do all this stuff involved with like the church. And ultimately, I just knew it's not what I wanted to do. I was unhealthy. I was questioning so many parts of my life. I just didn't know how anything was going to change. And I was just kind of going day to day, just letting life happen to me. So, story time about the trip. One night I had told my ex that we were going to sleep, but we were not going to sleep. We were actually looking for mushrooms. And it took us about 4 hours to find them, but by the time we found them, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. So we had gotten them, we came back to my place, we had taken them, and we had taken about 4 grams. We were not planning on taking that much. It was definitely the strongest dose I've done, but we just went with it and waited to see what happened. We had mixed most of them with lemon juice, which is supposed to make them kick in a lot stronger and make them hit harder, and they definitely did. My best friend was looking at me when we started to come up, and even he was like noticeably uncomfortable and like not sure what to expect. So the first like hour or two was pretty crazy. We were kind of going through it, and then eventually we decided we were going to go outside to a local park. And at this park, like the sky was completely clear. There was a lake, there was a bench. We sat there, we put our feet in the grass, and we felt a lot better. Eventually we went back to my place, and when we went back to my place, we had started sitting around in the garage, like we had everything set up out there, a couch, and my friend had gone inside to go to the bathroom, and his girlfriend started talking to me. Now, when she started talking to me, I had so much mental clarity. I have no idea what it was. I've never felt anything like this before, but she just asks me like the perfect questions. She asked me, "What do you want, Steven?" She also asked me, what am I doing with my life? Like, what is all this that I'm doing? Like, what am I headed towards? And is this really what I want? And I don't know what it was, but just the amount of clarity that I had in that moment, I had like all these epiphanies that just like rushed to me. Like my brain was just exploding with epiphanies. And for the first time ever, I was able to take a look at the past 2.5 years of my life and the direction of my future, and I was able to see it as clearly as possible. In the course of this conversation, all of the realizations I had were wrapped around a few key principles. The first is that my partner and I were completely incompatible and our futures did not align. The second was that religion made less and less sense to me on a daily basis. And since I was trying to commit my life to this, and it was something that I was going to do for basically forever, I wanted to start tearing it apart. But I realized that almost every single person that I tried to show these objections to could never give me a solid argument in return. I definitely realized that I needed to explore the world, see things more, try things, and really just dive deep into whatever the world has to offer to see what I like and see what I don't like. I also realized my happiness is entirely up to me and the decisions I make. And then I also realized that you cannot be complete by finding someone else. You have to complete yourself first, and then you find someone. Psychedelics are also one of the most powerful tools that human beings can possibly use. And then last but not least, everyone can have expectations for me, but ultimately every decision I make is up to me. So the conversation ended. I felt like I was a whole new person. I obviously had a lot to process over the coming weeks. We had laid back down in bed, and I sat there for probably like 2 or 3 hours trying to just take in everything that was happening. But on top of that, I was also still tripping pretty hard. When I laid there, I was seeing these crazy like fractals and visuals, and it was like very beautiful, but also kind of terrifying because it was just like so much. And then eventually we fell asleep. We fell asleep when the sun came up. We slept for quite some time, and then after that we woke up and we felt that afterglow that you usually get when you take mushrooms. And then all of the processing and everything else that was happening from that trip started to really set in, and I had to take some time to think about everything I just experienced. Another notable thing that happened was when I was laying down in that bed was that I had seen this crazy visual where behind my eyes I saw like a Windows screen pretty much, and it went down and it clicked start, it opened up a program, and then it played a video. And that video was like my future life, like 10 years down the road. Like I saw my dream house, I saw my dream car, I saw myself, I saw like all these things that could be possible, and I had never seen anything like this before. And the trip was basically just giving me this like beautiful representation of what my life could be like in the future. So the next day I ended up telling my ex that I in fact did not go to sleep and we did mushrooms, and she obviously was very upset about that. She didn't agree with psychedelics. So I basically told her what had happened. I told her it was one of the most profound experiences of my life, and that there was nothing that she could do about it, and it's just something that just had to be accepted. For the next 2 weeks, I realized that there was a lot of shifts that were going to be made. I realized I wanted to start living a different life. I realized that I wasn't going to go down the road of being a Christian anymore. And I just started feeling like super light and super free, and just felt good. Everything just like felt really, really good. So ultimately, when everything came to Trailhead about 2 weeks later, I had told my ex that like I'd been thinking about that trip. I was thinking about everything that happened, all the stuff I had seen. I was questioning my religion. I was questioning my relationship. And I just had a lot to think about because, you know, I'm only 21 years old. Like, I can't just jump into this, like, massive lifelong commitment with someone after experiencing all these things I just experienced. So we ended up breaking up, and the main reason she broke up with me is because she said I can't be with someone who's not willing to be a Christian, or at least try to be a Christian. So long story short, I never looked back, and I've never been happier. So some people tell me that it wasn't the psychedelics, that's something that was already inside of me. But ultimately, I think that psychedelics are an incredibly powerful tool that help you pull that stuff out of your subconscious and helps you get in touch with the things that you usually don't want to think about or that you usually try to hide from. All in all, the decision to take those mushrooms that night were one of the pivotal moments in my life, and I don't regret it at all. Out of all the like major moments, that was definitely in the top 3. Now, psychedelics may not be for everyone, but if you feel a calling and you feel like it's something that you should do, I would definitely do some more research on it. But I think that they are incredibly capable of helping you completely transform and change your life. And if not on that scale, they at least help you develop a new perspective and open your mind up to things that you've never had open before.